What's up, everybody? It's your girl Rossi, and I'm back with another show. This show is really special because this young lady I has cast me in a movie that she produced. We'll talk about that. Her name is Gricelda Garcia. She's really big here in Sacramento. She's doing a lot of things, and I knew I wanted to bring her on and introduce her to you all. So I'm gonna let you meet Griselda. Hi,
Hi, how's it
how's
going?
it going?
Oh my, I know, right? How's it going? It's going great. God is good.
So okay, so Griselda is a producer here in Sacramento. I worked with her years ago. I think it was a I think COVID or around COVID. I think COVID happened after, but I worked on this awesome film. And what's great about this film is her family's talented. Okay, so she has a daughter at the time. I think Gia was 9 or 10 or
Eight.
something like that.
She was 8.
Was she 8? Oh my gosh. So
Yes.
her daughter Gia was the lead in a movie called Little Ann the Comedian. Great script. First time I met her, the movie was great. Her daughter's super talented, but I'm really interested in Griselda because she does so much. You see her all over Sacramento. You see her involved in everything. Tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing.
Okay, so currently I'm a producer for 11th Child Studios. And I'm super excited because I'm one of four executive producers for our upcoming project, Sarah. So it's a feature film that will be aired in various streaming platforms. We are about to wrap up soon. So we're going to start that post production, hoping to release the film this coming January 2025. Um, we also just talked about our well, for the company would be their fourth film. For me, would be my second feature. So I'm super excited that they're bringing me on for their upcoming project that's on the website. So I can't disclose it, but there's 7 other projects there. So you'll have to look and find more information. Prior to that, as you mentioned, I was working on Little Ann the Comedian. We were so sad because that project fell through due to
Right,
COVID. We
right,
had filmed it uh, just right after COVID happened, and we weren't able to get it off like we had intended to. We had commitment from Ken Jong at the time, and so we were so excited because we were putting together. The pilot that then was gonna go off into becoming a feature in the future, but it didn't happen as we planned. But we were excited to have gotten that film created for at least the community, and we were able to release it locally here in Sacramento
right.
through one of the film festivals here.
Right. That was a great film. You guys did a great job. The writing was good. Like I really enjoyed being there and just meeting all the talent. Like that was a film that if not for COVID and the things that happened, that film would have gone really far. That was just everything about the film and Gia did just a wonderful job. I mean, to be 8 years old at the time and to carry a film was just amazing. So you're a producer, and some people don't know what that is. Can you explain what it is that you do as an executive producer?
So as an executive producer, that's the easier job. You let the money out, and then you put a film together, right? You put a project together.
Right.
I'm actually known more for the line producing that I do for a lot of the local films here in Sacramento. As a line producer, my goodness, that is so if you understand what project management is,
Okay.
that's basically what I do in a nutshell. For I
Okay.
oversee the head departments, make sure that everything gets put together for the film. I work closely with the director and the heads to make sure that we do from A to Z. So and then I'm on set, making sure that everybody's on their job, that we're following through, that people are look. And I'm rambling. I guess what I'm trying to say
You're
is
fine.
it's so much stuff to be a line producer, because you have to make sure that people arrive on time, that we follow our schedule, that we
Right.
meet the intended goals, so our shots for the day, that we accomplish the scenes, that everything's taken care of. So if I could tell someone, a line producer that just does line producing, their
Right.
job is great, right? But I go above and beyond. Everybody will tell you she will
Yeah.
jump in wherever you need to. And
Yeah.
I think I've said that in a lot of different podcasts. I think I work out of my scope. I, I
No,
work out of
you're
my scope.
everywhere. You're
Yes,
absolutely
because I'm
everywhere, and you stay busy. How did you become interested in becoming a producer, line producer? And you write as well, right?
yes, I do
Okay.
write.
Okay.
And then I haven't directed yet, but that's my goal. I directed as
Right.
a child, my little films.
Okay.
So how did I start? Oh my gosh. Um, I, I was one of those children that was lucky that was able to watch a lot of film. So I watched a lot of international film, and I was just driven by TV. Like
Okay.
film was my world.
Right.
Um, I have shared that I had some trauma when I was younger. So I'm a victim of sexual assault.
You too.
Yes. And
Same.
me
Same
too.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of what is it, the creative adults or children that survived the
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
So because I wanted to escape my reality, I created this fake world around me. So in my
Wow.
mind, the best thing or fit for me at the time, because I started being abused as early as I can remember, was I started to create these stories to live in an outside world that wasn't mine because I didn't want to
Right.
live in my reality. So
Right.
I did. That's how I escaped. So I always tell everybody that if it wasn't for the arts, I don't think I would be able to heal.
That's funny. I want to touch on that because you're describing exactly why I got into the arts as well. I mean, I think I opened up to you guys. It probably wasn't you guys, but I have another show that I do is called Movie Lovers Unite, Rossi Talks, and we were reviewing Quiet on the Set. And I was talking about Drake Bell and what happened with him. And so obviously, if I'm talking about him, I felt a need to open up and kind of say that it happened to me, which I would have never done. But that's the same thing I did. I think my abuse started as early as I can remember, 3 or 4, and it lasted for a
Same,
really long time. I think till I was like 10 or 11. And I
same.
stopped it myself and told that person no more.
Hmm.
But I created this whole fictional world
Hmm.
that I would go in my room and pretend, and I would escape in movies and just you I just that's I'm so happy that you said that because I think a lot of us do that, and to hear you say that, it's mind blown. And honestly, it helped me as well. I
Hmm.
was a really shy person, but when I would get on stage, it was like a totally different world.
Yes, and
So
because it helped me escape. And then I actually found out that one of my friends was also being abused, but I didn't understand at the time. I just thought, we were special and we were going through the same thing. But I saw how her demeanor started to change as we started to get older, how she started to become depressed.
yeah,
And so because I was feeling also, oppressed, sad,
right,
depressed. I didn't know what I was going to. I had to figure out how to channel my emotions. So then I
right,
started creating. And when I started creating, because I knew I started feeling happy,
right,
along the way, anyone who felt sad, I felt like I had to do a show. So that's where
okay,
my writing started, was because, hey, I do this for myself in my own little room, in my own
right,
little world. I think God gave me the gift of storytelling to help people laugh and heal. So
right,
then, because I felt like I knew it was just confirmation, I knew that I could tell a story and change narratives. So I
right,
started creating narratives of all these things in my life that were toxic. I then started soon taking things from like the media, news, and changing those narratives. So, like, I remember one was super funny, because we were watching the beauty pageant, and how it's always a skinny tall woman, and I was like, you know what, in my world, the big fat short ladies are the ones that win the pageant. So then I wrote a skit about Mrs. Universe, but she was actually a really plump lady that looked like a little world. And so that was like the whole thing, and it was a comedy and everybody was laughing. I remember all my family was like, this is hilarious. And the more people laughed,
Yeah.
the more addicted I became to it, and I couldn't stop putting the pen down. My parents saw that I had a little nick and knack for that, and
Yeah.
they bought me a RCA, I don't know, 4,000, six
That's
thousand,
awesome.
one of those big things. I always
Yeah.
tell everybody I was the original Goldberg, um, because I was walking around with my little flash pack and my little extended battery, my little coil, and just filming things and producing
Awesome.
things during family events, school events. I mean, everybody remembers me doing that as a child that knew me growing
Right.
up. And I lived in a little city in Tracy. I was a little country girl, so everybody and their mama knew me there.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. How do you like with your I ask a lot of artists on everyone has a different creative process, but describe your creative process with writing. What's your process?
Honestly, to tell you the truth, and it sucks because I tell everybody the story I've been writing since I can remember has been my story.
Okay.
Um, I can't figure out what the ending is, right? So that's why I
Right.
think I've never finished that story. But when it
Right.
comes to other stuff, it's easy. We talk about a concept and we just like go back and forth and just throw ideas, and then I usually take the back seat with it when it comes to writing. I'm always majority of the story creator, so I come
Okay.
up with concepts, and the people that love the screenplay writing stuff, usually they write them and then we do it. That's why it's always story
Okay.
by. I have written a couple screenplays, but I'm gonna tell you it's tedious work. I'd rather just tell you the story and somebody
I've heard
write
that.
it. And I love producing it. I love making it come to life because I'm so artistic. So sometimes as a line producer, like I said, I work out of my scope because I'm like, no, I don't like that. I'm gonna jump in set design too. We're gonna redo that because no, that's not telling the story that I thought in my head. But yeah, I feel like I'm more because I could tell jokes on the spot. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
my personality. I could tell a story. I just love to talk. It's like I said, it's my gift. But so I need a big budget so somebody can write all the stories that I have to say, and then so they
Right.
can
Right. Right.
make them
What
happen.
What was like your first professional project? Well, you grew up in Tracy, so you're in Sacramento. Did you do your first professional project here in Sacramento?
I actually did. I
Okay.
did. And Tracy, when I lived there, and then I also moved into Stockton. So that's like the
Okay.
neighborhood, all that. I wasn't. I, so when I left Tracy, I think in '92 was which was shortly
Okay.
after my mother found out about my abuse.
Oh, okay.
We became homeless. So I didn't
Oh,
have time to write. I think the only thing I have writing from then is my diaries and all the
mhm,
events that happened. I kept tab on all the things that we went through. So
right.
I didn't have time to be creative because I was in survival mode up
Right.
until I went into college. When I went into college, I went to University of the Pacific. I
Okay.
met an instructor who was just like, where do you come up with this stuff? And I was like, it actually happened to me, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
then he saw that I had a knack for writing and he was like, you need to produce a film. He put it in my head. You need to produce a
Okay.
film. And then I
Okay.
said, oh, well, I've produced tons of stuff when I was a kid. He says, no, you need to produce a film. And then I was like, I don't know what that means, but sure. So then I was like, I started taking classes to understand, script writing.
Okay.
And then in one of those classes, one of the teachers had mentioned, she says, a lot of students come through my program, and there's so many film festivals out there, and no one ever applies. No one ever from my program has ever gone on to actually making a film besides the little friend stuff that everybody does,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so then I was like, you know what? Do you have a list of those film festivals you're talking about? Because I'm gonna make a film. So then I was like, oh, Access Sacramento always has a place called Sacramento.
Right. Yep.
So it was in 2017 where I was like, I literally, I'm going to tell you, I put together that script within an hour and a half. It was a
Really?
short, yes, because I was like, I was determined that I
Right.
was going to get into the festival. And I was like, all I have to do is just pick one of my stories in my bags. I got a lot of interesting stuff.
Okay.
So I ended up writing a story about a young man who was dealing with addiction and abandonment and turned
Okay.
to the streets of Sacramento. And then the actual streets of Sacramento took him home. So he changed his narrative, and it got selected. And I
Wow.
was like, "What? I got selected?" So then from there, I was like, I did that one, and they always
Yeah.
say the first one is the hardest. And when I did that one, I was like, "This is easy. I could do this." And then I just kept doing them.
How many films did you do for A Place Called Sac?
Oh my gosh, every year, like they called me back up
Really?
until probably last was it last year? Or the year before that was the last
Okay.
year that 2022 was the last short I did. So from
Wow.
2017 back to back, I helped produce a lot of people's shorts because
Okay.
I the first one was mine, and
Okay.
then after that it was other people's stuff, and then Little
Right.
Ann was going to be my first feature,
Okay.
and that one didn't come to fruition, and
Right.
then now I'm about to finish my first feature.
You got to tell them about Little Ann the comedian and how you went about. Did you know you were gonna have Gia play that role?
No, so one of the things I always tell people, a lot of people is like, how does your family end up there, right?
Right.
I go, no, I have a lot of support from my family, but it was never intentional. So I always, um, we actually casted. So my daughter went through the process. She made an appointment.
Really?
She showed up. It was the director and the assistant director, which was not me. So it was both of them in the room,
Okay.
and they auditioned, I want to say about 12 little girls,
Okay.
and unanimously, oh, and there
Yeah.
was the camera person, they picked Gianna,
Okay.
and which was funny, but naturally she fit the role because she was actually on the writing side with me. So we were in New York in 2019, right before COVID, that summer. And my daughter's hilarious. She has my personality, as you met her. You know, she acts
Yes.
like she's 40 years old,
Yes, she does.
and so she was just talking about crazy rich Asians and how me and her, we were, and then my friend Normandy, Saris Parker, we were all
Yes.
together in New York. So he was like, "Oh my gosh, your daughter's hilarious," you know, and she's 7 at the time. Um, and I was like, yeah, I was like, can you imagine if we did a little, you know, a movie on a little girl like this that just she's hilarious and she's turning her tragedy into comedy, because that was my story, right? My story
Okay.
was turning tragedy into
Right.
comedy.
Right.
And then we're like, you know what, let's do it. So all three of us were on the airplane on the way home, and we put together the whole story on the way home from New York to
Wow.
California.
Wow.
And then the next year we started pitching it. That's why we have pictures with King Jong. He liked the
Okay.
project. So we were putting it together, and he was supposed to do the last few scenes where he was supposed to pop up, and then it didn't work out
Right.
because COVID hit.
Right.
So that's why we did an insert in the film where
Right.
Normandy showed the picture of him and Ken Jong, and they allowed us to do that, but it was
Yes.
heartbreaking because I was like, oh man, I'm actually gonna do my first feature,
Right.
and then it didn't happen.
Right. So as far as producing, there's always a lot of new technology. How do you like stay up to date with the latest advancements in filming, technology, techniques? Because I know you have to stay up to date with that. Does that affect you?
Yes, I have to do a lot of late nights. So you know, I work Monday through Friday, um, 40 hours plus,
Wow.
and then I have to come home and get up to date. So I have to do a lot of homework.
Okay.
Um, and then also being in the different projects that I work on, I get to do a lot of hands-on experience. And I try to
Okay.
tell people the most valuable experience you're ever going to have is the hands-on. You go to
Right.
school, learn the
Right.
theory, but if you have no application, that's the hard part. And I
Right.
feel like the creative piece, you just can't learn that. You can't learn that. That's just natural given, you know.
Okay.
But I have to, and I'm constantly learning from my peers. And right now I have such a great mentor,
Mhm.
the owner of 11 Child Studios, Enoch Jones. He's just taken me under my wings and has taken understanding film to a whole nother level for me, and I'm so
Right.
grateful.
Right. Yeah. I've been to his website many of times. Sarah, the film that you talked about, I think that's going to be a great film. Reading a little bit about the film, I mean, I love the story. There are other films, you guys. The link to 11 Child Studios will be in the video. So I don't want to tell you anything else that's going on. I will tell you this, that Darkest Hour is out now, right?
Oh yes, it's on Amazon Prime,
Okay.
and they also have a Good Thing too, which is
Yes.
there on Amazon Prime. So he is on a streaming platform. That's just one of many.
Right.
So you'll catch Sarah as well. We'll be streaming soon too.
So you talked about him. How did you two link up? Like, did you already know about 11th Child Studios? Like, how did that happen?
So actually, that was like godsend.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that no, I did not know of him. I had never met him. I had a friend that I worked with. Her name's Anne Marie Olson, and she's out there. She does acting. I met her. She was my script supervisor in one of the projects I had worked on, and she was following Enoch or knew him. I don't know the actual
Okay.
relationship, but she mentioned me because he was building his team. This was a little bit over a year ago, and then we met and it was amazing chemistry, meaning we had the same values, the same goals. It was if God had been putting our lives together to eventually meet, because it was going to be that that
Yeah.
that bonding over
Yeah.
film. We both said the same thing. We're looking to establish that Adam Sandler family.
Nice.
And that's what I've always said. I think since you've known me, I just want to make good films with good people.
Right.
Good
Right.
films with good
Absolutely.
people. Yep.
So, okay, dealing with not everything goes as planned. So, describe a situation where you had to work with a tight budget, constraints, and how did you approach the creative process in that circumstance?
Oh my goodness. That's film every day. If anybody thinks that
Yeah.
you have
Yep.
to say something, it's either someone not coming in on time, someone
Right.
decides they're not going to show up. Um, you buy some chocolates as a prop, they melted. You have to learn to pivot. Oh my gosh. If I could say anything, in order to do film, you have to have some sort of grace, a way to just um you just have to be able to pick up the pieces, think
Right.
fast. So when you say, can I describe a situation?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I could think of a million because it happens all the time. Like I said,
Right.
um one time we filmed the whole day without sound. I think that's one of
Are
my
you
favorite
serious?
ones to share. Yeah, the guy the whole time was like, this our sound guy, he was like, yeah, yeah, I could hear you guys. I could hear you. Yeah, he had the mic on, but it wasn't recording. So I think even though that cost us money because we had to go back and reshoot the whole day, that was a
Yeah.
valuable lesson for me because it happened in my early days,
Right.
right? With
Right.
my first projects, but it won't happen to
Okay.
me again. Now,
Right.
now that there's some heavy money out there.
Oh my gosh, I had a situation where I was just getting into podcasting and I had a guest on and we were reviewing a movie. And I remember he took time out of the schedule to come and sit with me. And it was my first time, I think it was like my second show that I'd done by myself because I normally would have a producer that would help me out. I did the whole show and forgot to hit the live.
Oh my
We
goodness.
talked for over an hour. We were doing two different movie reviews. We were giving them a double feature. So we
Oh my
talked about
goodness.
one film and then the other film. And I remember looking and seeing that it never said live. I never hit go live. Mortified. I was so just, oh my gosh, how am I gonna tell this guy? It never happened. We literally talked to ourselves. So I like pondered over it over a day, inboxed him, and I was just like, I am so sorry because I had to have him come back and do it again. Nicest guy. He was like, that's okay, totally understand. He has his own show, but it's like with the punches. But those things happen. And because of that, it's never happened again.
Right? That's what I was
It's
gonna say. I
never
bet you
happened.
it's
Like
never
it's
happened
never
again.
happened again. ever again. I've never done that again, but I just remember just, heart stop. With movies that you've done and produced, have you ever gotten backlash over content or, because or criticism?
Oh, you know what? Somebody's always going to complain
Right,
about something they didn't
right,
like. They felt you didn't develop the character, you didn't tell the backstory.
right,
You know, sometimes there is continuity issues. I'm my biggest critic. I catch them, like in Little Ann the comedian. Look, I'm going to throw one out there. The pin was a different color. No one noticed. But you know why no one noticed? Because the writing and the story was that
right,
good. No
right,
one noticed, but I noticed it. And
right.
so now I'm a stickler when it comes to continuity. I think I get on people's nerves sometimes because they're like, "Gee, take a seat in the back. It's cool, we got it." And I'm like, "No." Every time there's a mistake on the film that I produce, I become more critical and more harder on myself for the next one because the only person I'm in competition with is myself,
Right,
and I have to outdo me every time I do something. And I think that's why I've become so good at what I do. But I'm
right,
not there yet. I still got things that I'm learning. I'm gonna learn every single time I'm on a project,
right,
is because I'm always figuring out how to outdo me, how to be better,
right,
how can I go to the next level. And
right,
that's what I love, the studio that I'm working with, because that's how they think too, and that's what I want to do. And like I said, somebody's always going to talk about me, whether I do the best film in the world or the worst film in the world. Somebody's going
right,
to say something. So I just got to live with myself.
right. So with movies, is there one that you would change, like the way the movie was produced, or that you believe would have made the movie better? Do you
You
go
know,
through that where you're like, maybe if I would have done that, it would have been better? Do you have those moments?
I have learned that if you think that way, you're always going to be stressed out and you're going to be upset and you're never going to be happy. I have always learned that throughout my experiences, if I didn't do good, that's okay, because that's just opportunity for growth. And in my next
Right,
one, it's going to get better. And my
right,
next one's going to be better. And my next one's going to be better.
right,
Steven Spielberg is one of those examples. He's always said, I've always done better on my next film. And his films have just gotten better every time.
right,
So I take
right,
that same advice, like just focus on the present, what you're doing,
right,
and whatever mistakes you're, make note, learn from the best, and continue to just outdo yourself.
right. With being a line producer and executive producer, are you involved with picking a director? Do you do that?
As an executive producer, yes. As a
Yeah.
line producer, no. A line
Okay.
producer, I get
Okay.
assigned and worked with the
Okay.
director that the production picks. So,
Okay.
um, as a line producer, my job is to make the vision of the director come
Okay.
to life. So,
Okay.
I work really closely in making sure that they have all the elements that they need, and then making sure we're all cohesive and we do what's expected of us in our production. As an
Right.
executive, of course, then I have a say so, right?
Right.
Um, but that's usually the differences between the two roles.
Right. When you're producing, like, what do you look for in a script that makes you say, okay, I want to join this project as a producer?
So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to tell people, um, when you're first starting, you don't really have so much of a choice. Like, you
Okay.
don't want to put your name on everything either, too.
Okay.
I'm going to give that advice. Like, read a script. If you feel passionate, then that's something to go to. If
Okay.
it's an opportunity for you to learn, also do it. But of course, make sure you read the script, because your name's going to be attached to it. So
Right.
what I look for is an opportunity for me to have, not only to learn, but also that it's somehow connected with something in my life.
Okay.
The films that I've done that are, the IMBD ones that are there, I've done those because I felt some sort of connection. Because the worst thing you can do is put yourself on a project just to
Right.
get the experience, because then you're not going to be committed. And it's not fair to the people who are committed to the project, or the people that put together the project, because they put the project together because they're passionate about it. So
Right.
you should be passionate if you're working, whether you're a volunteer or you're
Right.
paid. you should have that level of commitment to that project. So if I could tell
Right.
anybody, make sure you're reading the script and that you have some sort of attachment feelings that you want to see this come to life, because there's no better feeling than to work with a group of people
Right.
who are like, yes, that was great. Oh my gosh, that made me feel good. Or I'm so happy I'm here. I feel, I feel excited. You know,
Right.
that's great to hear, but you don't always hear that. You
Right.
don't always hear that because people do things for money,
Right.
and
And dealing with actors that are difficult on set. I mean, you have to deal with that because I mean, seeing you on, seeing you working with you on Little Ann. I mean, you have watching you run around and dealing with actors. How do you go about that? Because some of us can be a bit much, and getting on the set. And like you said, some of us will show up. Some of those will show up just to get paid. How do you deal with that?
you know what? Like, I have that gift for storytelling, so I have
Yeah.
a mouth on me. So, and then I'm a social worker, I have an MSW, so
Oh
I
wow.
could talk you into what you need to do. And I tell people, don't let my crazy Griselda come out. So I'm being nice right now. This
Right.
is nice, Griselda. Look, see, I go like this. No, I, I think I have a knack for that too. I'm a boss.
Yes, you are.
I'm a
Yes, you
boss,
are.
man. Even at my
Yes,
work,
you
I'm a
are.
boss. I know how to tell people what to do in the most respectful way. And I let people have their dignity. You know what I'm saying? I need you to do this, and
Right.
we'll have a conversation later.
Right. 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 So, being that you are a boss, you do have a family. How do you
Yes.
balance that? Because you are everywhere and you're always busy and you have a 9 to 5. How do you balance that?
I think they balance me.
Okay.
You should
Okay.
ask them that
Okay.
question.
Okay.
They're the ones that put me in check. They work around my schedule.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love my
I get
family. They
that.
support me.
Right.
My daughter, she's like, Mom, I get it. You're working when you're looking at your phone. I get it. But I balance it. I always make sure I have time for my family. Like,
Okay.
my family comes first. I think when it comes to like having one of those social lives, do I go clubbing and do I go hang out? Probably not. I rather
Right.
go do a vacation and
Right.
spend time with my family and friends.
Right.
Go to a family, function, a barbecue, a birthday party, because I enjoy those things. If there's something that I'm gonna take away, then
Right.
that's how I balance that. And it's hard. It's really hard because I'm gonna tell everybody I don't sleep at night. I miss birthdays. I miss gatherings. I miss a lot of people don't realize all the sacrifices that you do
Yeah.
in order to do your passion.
Yeah.
You arrive late.
Yeah.
You miss out on that dinner. You miss out on X, Y, and Z. But I do that because I know that in the long run, it's going to be worth it for our
Right.
family.
Right. What's your dream project? Do you have one that, or are you working on one yourself? Are you, rephrase, what are you working on right now?
So right now, like I said, I'm finishing Sarah. We're
Sarah.
gonna wrap that up soon. Actually, I'm throwing a plug in. I am looking for extras, people that look like college students between the ages of 18 and 25. I guess it would be
Okay.
college age. Um, so that's what I'm working on. As soon as we finish that, we'll start post production, and then we're gonna start pre production
Okay.
for our second project. So for those of you interested, because we are a local agency and we
Yes.
do look for local talent for both crew and cast, you should really look on our website to see what we have upcoming. Information is always there. Sign up. And then we also have our own talent agency, which you can also, LeMay, sign up and um, and be prepared,
Right.
to work, because that's what we want to do. We want to continue to create great films.
Right. Do
And
you
then,
guys,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead. Go ahead,
no,
love. Go
and I
ahead.
was gonna say, and I'm also trying to finish that script, the one script I told you that I've been writing probably since I
Yes.
was born.
Right. I wanted to ask, yeah. Yeah. How is that going? Because you work all the time. Like when you're the script that you're working on, how much time do you have to work on that? Do you do a little bit at a time and just go back into it? Like,
I do it around the clock. So I
okay,
have it on my phone, and I type out thoughts, and then I have
okay,
to translate it to the computer program for the screenwriting.
okay,
So I'm writing all the time, and then I swear that script's probably going to be about 300 pages, so I have to condense it because I'm just writing. I've just
okay,
been thoughts that come naturally. I just put them in. We'll figure it
right,
out where it belongs.
right. To people out there, again, that want to get into the business, you recommend, like you said, some can go to school and just not get it. What steps would you tell those up and coming producers what they need to do what you're doing to get to where you're at?
So to be where I'm at, you can't be scared to dip in. You have to know every department. You don't have to know everything like from A to Z, right?
Right,
But you have to know how a movie works from A to
right,
Z, all the elements that you need in order to create the film. You have to understand from even the administration pieces, from pre-production to post-production to
right,
production. Like to be a good producer, you just have to know that you have to know a little bit of everything, but you also have to be willing to continue to further your education in production.
right.
So being a producer will never end your learning curve. Like if you want to be a producer and you say, "Oh, I don't have to learn anything," that's a lie. That's a lie. You're
Right.
on a constant learning. I'm telling you, every day I learn something. I learned something.
Right. 5 years from now, what's your 5 year goal?
Oh my
Where would
goodness.
you be 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I'm going to be
Yeah.
making 4 films a year.
Right.
4 films a year. That it's going to be on a cycle. I'm going to be retired from my 9 to 5,
Right. Right.
and I'm going to be having mocktails at the local beach because I'm going to be chasing sunsets. But no, my goal is to have films that we're producing at least at a minimum four a year,
Okay.
right? Look, sounds ambitious
Right.
because
But
can you really produce 4 films? I don't know, right?
right.
Because it depends
Right.
how long and what we're doing, and they're all very different.
Right.
But if I can, that would be amazing.
Well, I am just absolutely happy that I got you on here. Again, you guys, Griselda Garcia, she's a line producer. She's an executive producer with 11 Child Studios here in Sacramento. They're doing big things there. You can watch A Good Thing and you can watch Darkest Hour. It's streaming right now on Amazon Prime. Check them out. Enoch Jones, the owner of 11 Child Studios. I will have him on as well, along with Sarika, so that you can meet the whole family. But Griselda's here representing for 11 Child Studios. Sacramento's doing big things. What do you love most about Sacramento? Fun questions. Like, do you want to leave Sacramento? Are you guys going to just stay here and make movies here in Sacramento? Are you looking to branch out?
So I'll speak for myself.
Okay.
I this was like I said, God sent. I did not want to leave Sacramento because I don't want to get lost in LA.
Right.
And I've been on that bandwagon with everyone. Can Sacramento become a hub for films? Because we have so much here. We're like 2 hours away from a beach. We're two
Right.
hours away from the snow. We're less than an hour away from a field,
Right.
from the countryside, from a forest.
Right.
I mean, we have so much talent here that for me, that was one of the things. Man, if I could make movies here and keep my day job, then
Right.
then I'm doing big things.
Right. Right. No, I love Sacramento. I'm from Portland, Oregon, but I love Sacramento because Northern California is just a different situation. And like you said, as LA, just I don't want to be lost in that. So I appreciate that Sacramento's doing so much. And you guys check us out here in Sacramento. Everything about Griselda will be in the links of the video. You're always welcome to come back. As soon as the next film comes, just shoot me a text. Rossi, love to come back. You guys are always welcome. I absolutely appreciate your time with Rossi's Clubhouse. You guys, I am the host of Rossi's Clubhouse. I hope you enjoyed the show. Next week, I have actor Ethan. He's going to be coming in and we're going to chat with him, and I have a lot of more specials. Let's see, Hayla V, the artist, will be back. She's going to kick off the summer for us, June 24th. If you missed Yums Awkward, a Sacramento rapper here, if you missed that interview, check him out. They are doing big things here, as well as Affiliado, Mellow the Man, YNG4L. What's up, youngin'? Check them out. You guys can check out the channel, watch older videos. Also, John Wild, love you so much. Thanks for coming through. There's so many people that's come through and helped Rossi's Clubhouse grow, which is a Sacramento-based podcast. So thank you so much. And we're going to leave out. You guys know, let me get my stuff together, and we're going to play our new music that we got for Rossi's Clubhouse. So we're out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you guys. We appreciate you.